Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. To all of my returning subscribers, hey, how you doing? And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Kick your feet up, subscribe to this family-friendly channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Also follow me on Instagram at the same profile name so you don't miss the sneak peeks of what's coming up next. In this video is The Handmaid's Tale Season 5, Episode 6, entitled Together. I give a full episode recap with photos offset to the side, and then I give my review at the end. No need to dig around. I keep all of the minute marks in the comments. It's all coming up next. June and Luke ride in the back of a vehicle, and no matter how hard Luke tries to break the door or the restraints, it won't budge. June doesn't think it's Gilead. The vehicle smells like disinfectant or some sort of cleaner. It's way too many chemicals for Gilead. They wouldn't use them. Luke then starts to have a slight panic attack and can hardly breathe. The capturers then take profile and face-forward photos of both of them. June demands to know, who are they? They're still in no man's land, so where are they taking them? Luke confirms that they are refugees and have asylum in Canada. They ask for June's name, and she says June Osborne, but they want to know the name associated with her ear tag. Who are you of? June refuses to answer. Serena sees Dr. Landers and is confused. She thought her ultrasound was scheduled for this morning. He confirms it is. Dr. Landers can give her necessary appointments upstairs, a complete nursing suite. He thinks it's much nicer than the office he has in the city. The Wheelers feel that it's safer. They understand how special and valuable she is. First the ultrasound, then he will take a quick peek. She's at the stage where perineal massages are important. Tearing is no picnic, so anything to get the tissue more flexible would be a great benefit to her. Avoid gels. Just stick with witch hazel, essential oils, that sort of thing. The Wheelers are stocked with everything you may need. Your blood pressure is higher than preferred, so you'll need to get some more rest. He then asked the Wheelers permission, and he was encouraged actually to ask Serena out for dinner. They could stay there or have dinner at his house. She doesn't know him well, but he really admires her. Call me Alan. Is this correct, doctor? Esther's uterus harvesting was canceled? The doctor confirms that they were moving forward with the procedure, but she's 3 weeks pregnant. He didn't know that she wasn't posted yet. She will transfer to another facility until her time comes and rest until then. She's awake now, if you want to see her. Lydia takes the offer. Even in Esther's circumstances in Gilead fashion, they have handcuffed her to the bed. Lydia wants to know, we attended Commander Waterford's funeral 3 weeks ago. Clear something up for me? Be honest. You had a private audience with Commander Putnam, Did you behave in any way that would have invited his attention? Esther says no. I didn't do anything. He raped me. Lydia says, that's terrible and I'm sorry. But Esther says, no, you're not. They all do it. You know they do, and you're not sorry. Lydia tries to ignore her comments, and Esther hysterically screams, get off of me and get out, over and over again. Lydia tells the news to Commander Lawrence about Esther. The act was outside of ceremony, and Commander Putnam needs to be punished. Commander Lawrence doesn't see the issue. Esther was supposed to be posted to Putnam's anyway, to get pregnant. How was that rape? He will take what she said under consideration. Before Lydia leaves the room, she threatens that one day there will be justice. Luke is in panic mode. The Nightingale and Moria must be freaking out. They have been gone for days. He can't imagine June has experienced this type of fear over and over again. He wants to figure out how they can get out of there, and he wishes he would have been that type of guy that could have saved her, or at least could have been there through it all. June wants him to stop. Panicking is wasted energy. He was always there with her, and she survived. Mrs. Wheeler and Serena tend to flowers, as Serena remembers how she would spend hours in her greenhouse. Pruning brings life. Serena compliments Dr. Lander, and he was very kind. Mrs. Wheeler pours on the compliments of how he was promoted in his line of work at the University of Toronto. Serena knows that he's a good guy, but she can't date her gynecologist. She may not even get married again at all. I'm not a single mother, I'm a widow. Mrs. Wheeler then presses, the baby needs a mother and a father. That's more important than your feelings. When Serena tries to leave the room and suggests they speak about the matter with Commander Lawrence, Mrs. Wheeler won't let her. The baby needs rest. Go to your room. Serena goes to the room and begins to cry, concealing the volume. June and Luke joke about how their butts are doing okay on the hard floor and loving the natural light feeling. Maybe these cages are on Airbnb. The guards come in again and run their fingerprint scan. They're taking them back to Gilead. June tells them to contact Commander Lawrence or Blaine. They punch her, ignoring it all. They then try to obtain Luke, and June wants him to just do as they say. Instead, he tries to run, and they beat him up until he loses consciousness. Lawrence jokes how Commander Putnam is a bull, and he is repopulating the planet on his own. Putnam wants him to understand that this new Bethlehem idea is dead and will never carry over well to the rest of the commanders. From there, they throw sarcastic digs at one another. Commander Lawrence says Putnam is more of a Jezebel type of guy, less of a quickie behind a desk before a funeral. And Warren says Commander Lawrence is a prude, not taking advantage of his status. Why keep the role in the first place if he doesn't want it? Serena is requested by Mr. Wheeler. He trusts that his wife and Serena will work things out. He has good news. June Osborne was apprehended by one of his teens in no man's land. She was traveling with her husband. She doesn't have to worry about them ever again. She can just focus on her baby. Serena surprisingly wants to know what's June's fate. He tells her that he's sending her to Ezra, where they'll deal with her the same way Fred was dealt with. He thought about sending her to Gilead, but he doesn't trust that they would deal with her properly. Serena agrees. There are too many people there that will sympathize with her. She has one request: to go with Ezra. Mr. Wheeler declines that offer and says especially no, not in her condition. But Serena begs. She wants to see whatever Ezra will do. She wants to tell her son that she knows what happened to his father's killer, and she's gone from the earth. Mr. Wheeler eventually says, yes, you may go. Serena thanks him in God's grace. Luke regains consciousness, and June apologizes for what happened to him. You didn't know how bad it would be, and I did. She shouldn't have let him come to no man's land. Luke feels that he decided to come, and it's not her fault. Last time they didn't get to say goodbye, and he doesn't want that to happen again. When they get to Gilead, it's obvious that they're going to kill us. June wants him not to think about that. Last time they were separated, June never gave up hope, and neither did he. They knew they were going to see each other again. They just have to do it once more. They say, I love you, and encourage one another to stay alive. Serena gears up to leave, and Mrs. Wheeler wants her to know that even at the slightest discomfort, let Ezra know immediately, and you come back. As June and Luke are released from holding, a guard says he's legal. They don't want him. Dump him at the border. They are separated again, and June finally breaks down. There's a voiceover from June. No matter how many times you think you're gonna go, and you think about your own death, it never happens how you expect. There's always a curveball, some strategy you didn't fully think of, an enemy you didn't see in time. No matter what you do, the ending is always a surprise. As the Putnams eat breakfast, they are displeased that they're getting stares. Mrs. Putnam wants to know what he did. He assures it's something that she will thank him for later. Guards come in, and Mr. Putnam is planted on his knees in front of Lawrence and Nick. The High Criminal Court of Gilead in special overnight session found you guilty of apostasy, sins of the flesh, the rape of unassigned property. Mr. Putnam still doesn't get it. She's his handmaid, his property, and has a baby on the way. Before he can finish his thoughts, Nick shoots him at point-blank range in the head. Nick returns home to Rose. She's upset about Commander Putnam and what kind of person it makes Nick out to be. He says it's to make the world safer for their child. Lydia wants the handmaids to look at the body. There are consequences for disobeying God. Commander Putnam is an evil man who took advantage of his position. This is justice. Janine takes a longer look, saying she wished she could have watched. Ezra arrives to fetch June Osborne, and Mr. Wheeler approved it. What's going on? Where are you taking me? And then behind her, Serena appears. Serena is happy. This is payback for Fred. Now she wants June to pray on her knees. She wants the gun because June killed her husband and cursed her child. God has given her a chance for justice. She tells June to pray, and she does. June prays that their children can live in a place of peace, that they can do a better job than they did. not to have evil in the world. There's so much hate. Serena shakes her hand to shoot June, but instead shoots Ezra in the chest. The bullet is caught by his bulletproof vest, and Serena wants June to get in the car and drive. And that is the end of the episode. And now it is time for your favorite part of the video. That's right, my review. It's very obvious that there are a lot of wheels churning when it comes to a quote-unquote divine plan from Serena. Serena has a gift of the gab, which is slang for you have the gift to run your mouth and basically get what you want. Serena has done this since the beginning of the series, and it's very obvious that she never had this ploy to get revenge on June, because if she did, she could have done that a long time ago. Her being pregnant, she's now feeling the emotions of a mother carrying her own child and seeing this opportunity as a way to escape the Wheelers. Very evident. She could care less about this divine idea or this divine plan that she wants to have her husband avenged. You know what I mean? It's all this process and her finding that moment. As soon as Mr. Wheeler said that June Osborne has been captured, you don't have to worry about them anymore, and Ezra's going to take care of it, not going to take them to Gilead. That was an opportunity, because when June doesn't get to go back to Gilead, she can't go back to Gilead, right? She knows that if June goes back to Gilead, she won't have this opportunity to escape, because there's not this warm welcome in Gilead. But this idea of being in no man's land, and then Ezra taking the opportunity to discipline her, quote unquote, or get this revenge, this was the window of opportunity. I saw it as I was watching. I'm like, oh, this is what she's gonna do. She's gonna do what she can to get the heck up out of there. June realizing and having that moment of, this may be my moment of death, right? This may be my moment, and this is it. So maybe let me make this prayer meaningful, and let me tell her that despite everything, let's just think about the kids. Let's just pray our children don't have to deal with this crap, all of the hate and all of this going on. Maybe they will get it right this time. Maybe they'll stop fighting and they'll see the good in everyone. Maybe that is what we need to pray for. So Serena already had her idea of, how to escape, that no man's land would be that opportunity. She can't really go back to Canada. She can't really go back to Gilead. So let me just think of a way to do something. So using June as this opportunity to get in the car, her holding the gun and getting in the car and shooting Ezra. He's going to have a bulletproof vest on because of what he's done and what they do in the middle of no man's land. So it's just this epiphany as, if you are really paying attention, you knew that Serena was just waiting on the opportunity to leave, especially when Mrs. Wheeler says, go to your room. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm a handmaid. As a viewer, as a watcher, you wanted her to emotionally have a taste of what she's been sending the handmaids to go through emotionally. She's finally getting that taste of her own medicine, and it was sweet redemption. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but to me, this is what she needs to kind of say, this is what you put people through. Is this what you really want? In all, this is your selfishness. And let's talk about Commander Lawrence and Commander Putnam. It's very obvious that they have this window of opportunity, Nick and Commander Lawrence, to delve and deal with Mr. Putnam, Commander Putnam. Like, okay, him doing this, even though we know it happens all the time with the commanders, and he even said that to Lydia. Like, we know that they're not always doing that in the ceremony. But it seemed like their opportunity, especially for Commander Lawrence, to say, okay, let's just get him to say that he did it out of this ceremony, and this is our opportunity. Because you got to remember, he wants this new Bethlehem. So we have a lot of characters within this episode who have a turn and shift of events when it comes to windows of change. Serena, June, right? She's not going to Gilead, which is any place but Gilead is great, okay? Now she's stuck in no man's land again. We also have this turn of events for Luke. Luke is being taken back to the border. So we know his fate is he's going to be safe, right? But now, right now, his ideas of trying to save June or be there for June are totally different. I can't believe you've dealt with this. Oh my goodness. And this hopelessness of what can I do? I can't even save you. I wish I could have been there to save you. And instead of going there, June says, look, you're panicking. It's just a waste of energy. Let's just try to focus, let's just try to focus on having hope. And we were separated before. Let's just focus on being back together and coming full circle. But Luke has it in his mind, hey, we're going to Gilead, they're going to kill us. This is the end here. And the voice of her saying, you always have this idea how you're going to die, and it's never what you think. It's always this wild card. So as the audience, we're thinking, okay, what's next? What's going to happen? And I thought this episode was great because it's starting to emotionally turn the series. Serena had this power of influence, so she thought, but she doesn't have any status or title in Canada. That's pretty much been stripped in Gilead. So maybe she can help when it comes to helping June bring down the barriers of Gilead. We are seeing that. We're seeing that Gilead is having problems with trade. We're having, even seasons ago, they had troubles with running low on food. Remember? And Commander Putnam is like, we're not opening our walls to everybody. We're going to close this in. But Commander Lawrence warning and reminding, we have to start trading and start widening our communication somehow, or we're not going to make it. Everything's going to implode from the inside. I thought this was a great episode. I really hope they don't go more than 2 more seasons, because they really need to wrap up 2 things. What is the idea and the closure of the rest of the world, and how are they feeling about Gilead, and what are they doing? I would really love to see other countries' point of views and other areas' point of views, what the U.S. is doing. I really want to see more militant observation of what they are planning and doing to penetrate Gilead. Or will it be this idea of a lot of rushed monologues or montage scenes that could give us an idea of how everybody will move on? Let me know what you think. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.